don't think there has ever been a time where I have been this genuinely irritated by a series of discussions in the book community. It's been a trend for a while now to talk about BookTok, okay? BookTok has ruined reading. BookTok is turning reading into fast fashion. There are no good books anymore because BookTok has ruined it for everyone. You know, BookTok has made reading out into an aesthetic, and there's no real readers on BookTok because they're all just reading to look like a reader. You know, just all of these various conversations that people have been playing into, and I've kind of just ignored them because a lot of the times I don't really have a ton to say, right? I don't have a lot to add to the conversation. However, there have been multiple people that have made videos recently about BookTok and anti-intellectualism, and this one pisses me off. So now, before I get into the meat of what I want to talk about today, I do encourage you to do your own research, form your own opinion on this. You know, I am just a girl with a tiny microphone. You know, if you do already have your own opinion or you want to discuss it in the comments below, please be nice to me and be nice to others down there as well. But without further ado, let's talk about the anti-intellectualism of BookTok, okay? So the main argument that I see people making towards this BookTok is anti-intellectualism is that there is a severe lack of criticism on BookTok. Everything just goes on vibes, and a lot of people are experiencing backlash of a sort when they go to actually criticize a book or an author or something or other. So therefore, BookTok is anti-intellectualism. However, I genuinely don't think that the majority of these people who are saying these things know what intellectualism is, and I don't say that to be, I don't know, elitist or mean or whatever. I say that because without the right terminology, in my opinion, your argument falls apart, okay? Intellectualism is a philosophy that values logic and reason over emotion, over individualistic opinion, over likes and dislikes. It is a logic-based philosophy. The people who are arguing for intellectualism on BookTok especially, they use this word as an extension of analysis. You know, we need to criticize the things that we're reading, which I agree with. I agree that we should criticize authors. We should consider authorial intent. We should consider the subjects and the themes that are within the book. However, intellectualism is not that. Intellectualism is not just criticizing a book for its flaws or an author for its flaws or being open to criticism. Intellectualism is a philosophy that values logic and reason over emotion. It is a very rational way of thinking. I don't think that really works for the book community. So what are you really arguing for here? Should we suspend our emotional attachment to these characters and plots for the sake of solely judging a book based on what's written on the page in black and white? Should we not be coming to a book with our own individualistic emotions and experiences? Is that not what BookTube, BookTok, book community discussion of books is based on? The coming together of various different people from various different backgrounds and discussing how each of us individually reacted to or related to or didn't relate to certain aspects of a novel. Now, obviously, I'm making this argument based solely on fictional works. That is the majority of BookTube in my experience, the majority of BookTok in my experience, the majority of the book community in general in my experience. We all are reading fiction. We're reading romance, fantasy, sci-fi, horror. Not all of us are reading nonfiction. Obviously, if you are discussing a work of nonfiction, your opinions matter a little bit less. Your emotions towards the story, towards the characters, matter a little bit less because you're dealing with factual information. Obviously, as well, if you are in an academic setting, this can be a little bit of a gray area because academic settings, especially if you're going for like an English degree or you're in a class, you know, studying English literature, teachers or professors expect you to have some form of emotional detachment from the work that you're studying. Most of the book community is not an English class. When people argue for intellectualism in the book community, they are talking about objective reading. They're arguing for opinions and reviews that are not based on emotional impact. They're not based on your emotion at all, which makes no sense. The act of reading is not objective unless you are completely devoid of emotion. Even liking or disliking a book holds emotional weight. Whether you're in awe of the prose and the metaphor and all this la-di-da, or you just had a grand old time, it's based in emotion. Emotional connection, or lack thereof, makes the book community possible. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you connect with it? Why? How did did your individual experiences and your emotional attachment or lack of emotional attachment affect your reading experience of this book, affect how you liked it or disliked it? How did this work of literature affect you? When you take the individualism out of it, when you take the emotion out of it, you get objective reading. That is what intellectualism is. The only way your argument would work is if the entire community was solely reading and discussing nonfiction, things based in factual information. And even then, your emotional attachment to different people's stories or different facts or different things that you explore in nonfiction is still a valid thing to put into an argument. Now, I'm not necessarily arguing against the people that are making these points of we should criticize books more, we should, be more critical about what we read. I'm arguing against the terminology that they're using because it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I'm not saying that you should just be reading books willy-nilly, and I'm not saying that books are above criticism just because you or I happen to like them. I'm saying that to say BookTok is anti-intellectualism is just a ridiculous take because it doesn't make any sense. Even ignoring the fact that I think that the wording is just completely wrong, what are these people trying to say? Why do you care? Why are you victimizing yourself? You criticize somebody's favorite book and they respond negatively and all of a sudden intellectuals are under attack? No. Get over yourself. And on the flip side, you love a book and some stranger on the internet doesn't and tells you to, and all of a sudden you are the victim? Absolutely not. I genuinely will never understand why some people attach their personalities and their selves and their self-worth to a book so far that if somebody doesn't like it, then you feel personally attacked. I don't get it. It boggles my mind. The victim mentality surrounding this entire situation is just ridiculous, okay? The internet is a place where I am free to share my opinion. You are free to tell me that my opinion is shit, and I can say something back to you, but who the fuck cares? I do think that you can argue that the majority of BookTok does not take criticism well. However, not taking criticism well doesn't mean that they are anti-intellectualism. I also think there's something to be said about short-form content and the hive mind mentality. Most of TikTok is based on snapshots of people, so they have to be aggressive or loud or, exciting to garner your attention. I think a lot of the times this sort of content gets people fired up in a way that long-form content just genuinely doesn't. Long-form content tends to spark more of a long-form discussion, where the punchy, aggressive, exciting short-form content tends to garner the same sorts of reactions. I also think that the larger the internet gets, the more people are interacting on here, the more people who are sharing their opinions. Everybody is adopting this us versus them mentality. They latch onto their differences and they run with it. And we can see these types of trends in things like cancel culture or mass reporting or followers of one person going to mass attack somebody else. And this hive mind mentality also perpetuates this victimhood that people are experiencing. I am the victim because you said something that was personally against me, even though it wasn't. If they say something negatively that we like, the us becomes the victim automatically. And that's just not the truth. I also find it interesting that people who are pushing for this critical thinking in the book community are also having trouble being criticized themselves. I saw this one girl on TikTok who was talking about the fact that she had pushed back about something in a book, and she had a lot of comments telling people to leave them alone and just let them read what they want, which is a criticism, and she got pissed about it. So all of a sudden, she has become the victim in this situation. I do think that the power that BookTok has recently on the publishing industry does need to be addressed. I've also seen a lot of people posting videos about the tropification of books, and I think that again has to do with the short form style of TikTok. We have a minute to recommend you 5 different books. So of course we're going to attach to a main theme within them, and of course certain themes become more popular than others. Here's 5 enemies to lovers romance books, even though that's only a part of the book itself. Here's 5 books that have this one bed trope, even though that's 1 or 2 scenes in the entirety of the book. It's a short form way of recommending books, and that has kind of forced the publishing industry to start marketing these books based on this checklist of tropes. And I don't like it, you don't like it, but it really only affects the people that these publishers are marketing towards, which a lot of the time at this point they're marketing towards BookTok. However, even though this tropification has started to, take over the BookTok sphere, and you see publishers marketing books with their tropes instead of with their plots, they're not the entirety of the books in the world. There are millions of books published every single day. There's millions of people on the internet talking about books. You just have to find the people that are talking about what you want to listen to. You have to find the books that are marketed in a way that, you know, grabs your attention, and ignore the ones that don't. You don't have to consume the popular books. You don't have to encroach on this spicy BookTok area of BookTok. You can find BookTok creators that are more analytical and more critical about the books that they read. I've found them. I know about them. I know they exist. BookTok is not anti-intellectualism, and I don't know why we should be promoting intellectualism anyway, unless we're in some sort of nonfiction book club, which most of us are not. I also think that BookTok is its own sphere, and if you don't like the way that BookTok does things, don't be on BookTok. There are a lot of creators on each app that are willing to give you the analysis and the criticism that you're looking for. You just have to find them. And if you're not finding them, then you're not looking in the right fucking place. Find somewhere else to look. But anyways, that's my rant for today. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next time.